Can I just word it? Should he's, yeah, unmuted, okay. You have the camera switched over? Okay, guys, we'll get started with Coach Bolt. First question will be Chris Bassinet.
Hey, Will, good to see you now that the season's here and you're a few days away from playing an actual game. I guess how do your coaching staff balance, trying to get opportunities for guys, but also trying to get guys into a rhythm with no, midweeks, no non-conference, and all those sorts of things.
Yeah, that's a great question. We've made it pretty clear with our team that if there's ever been a year where 1 through 38 on the roster need to be ready to play and ready to contribute and ready to help win, that this is the year where there's so much uncertainty, so many different things that could pop up that are really out of our control in a lot of ways. So we've been harping on that, not only for the last few weeks of practice here, but going back to the fall as well. So, we're going to have to play right away the guys that we feel like are going to give us the best chance to win and not really have a chance to ease some guys in there that may be a little iffy on defense or base running or signs or the strike zone, those kind of things. The 4-game series is certainly going to present possibly some more opportunities for innings pitched in there. But yeah, I mean, it's all hands on deck. We're going to play the best guys that we feel like are going to give the best chance to win. But ultimately, we could be throwing a curveball at any point in time, and all those guys got to be ready.
Evan Bland, Omaha World Herald.
Hey, Will, in that same vein, what are some extra precautions that you guys as a team are taking, especially on the road, and how much thought goes into that from meals to hotels and everything? What are some things you guys are doing extra in this strange year?
Yeah, a lot more thought goes into that stuff than just the baseball side of things. Usually we're only worried about the baseball side, and we've got great support staff that usually is taking care of the other stuff, but it's kind of a collaborative effort this year. Precautions, it's just there's a pretty tight bubble. We've asked our guys to be in since the fall, limiting their access to people that aren't inside our bubble. And then on the road, it's going to be even more important we're going to basically be at the field or the hotel, and that's about it, besides being in an airport and on an airplane or a bus. So we're going to have all the meals there for them at the hotel or at the field, and there's not going to be a ton of extracurriculars, if any. I mean, it's basically, you always talk about it being a business trip. I mean, that's essentially exactly what it looks like. It's if you're not at the field, you're basically in your hotel room and until it's time to go again. So it's going to be different. Our guys they've been making sacrifices for quite a while now since going back to the fall, and now that it's go time, they're going to do what it takes to have a chance to compete. So.
And could you describe maybe the stakes that go with that? What happens if there is an outbreak? Like, how long are guys out, and how motivated is everybody to play after obviously you guys didn't get a full season last year?
Yeah, highly motivated. I mean, we're going to do everything we can to stay as safe as possible, and even doing that, there's no guarantee that there's not going to be an issue. So again, those are things that our guys are highly motivated to do, to take care of, to do the right things, and to just do what it takes to compete. And like I said, it's going to be an odd dynamic, doing things a little bit different this year. But if given the opportunity, March 15th of 2020, and you told a group of guys, hey, these are some of the sacrifices that you have to make in order to compete, they would have all taken them in a heartbeat. So that's the way we look at it.
Next question, Michael Bruntz, 247 Sports.
Hey, Will, the last few weeks of you guys have kind of ramped up to the start of the season. I guess, what have you seen from your team? Have you liked the way that they're getting ready for the start of the season here?
Yeah, it's we've been going at it for quite a while. I mean, our guys got back on January the 4th with the semester starting a little bit early, and we didn't actually start our 20-hour weeks until the end of January. So we've been able to ramp up, like you said, a little bit longer. Gotten a little creative with some of the the practices, just trying to keep it fresh. The month of February presented a lot of challenges with the weather, the sub-zero temps for a few weeks at a time. We were indoors, and that's something we're accustomed to doing here. We know that that's part of the deal, but to kind of put it in perspective, our guys have been as motivated and as enthusiastic and energetic as any team I've ever been around in terms of preparation for a season, and that's with all the unknowns and uncertainties and maybe some of the frustration with not having a schedule, not knowing what it's going to look like, and then finding out it's going to be less than everybody else and it's going to be conference only. Our guys are super resilient. They've been incredibly mentally tough throughout this deal. We've got some great leadership on our team. It's a testament to them and their ability just to show up and try to keep a mindset of we're just going to get better today. And that's what we've done. That's honestly, I can say that without a shadow of a doubt, that's what we've done over the course of the last 2 months, just with our preparation for the season. Is our guys have had a awesome attitude. They've been a lot of fun to be around. They've worked hard. They haven't really, asked for much except just an opportunity to get out and get after it. And they've done that. And I know they're ready to go.
One quick one. Where are you guys health-wise to start the year? I mean, are there guys that are not going to be available this weekend or maybe long-term?
Yeah, Colby Gomez, he's had a setback. He was rehabbing and got almost to the point of having a chance to get on the mound, and unfortunately, he's not going to have a chance to compete this spring. Without going into too many specifics, he just wasn't able to come back from a previous injury in the fall. Unfortunately, he's worked really hard to get back in that spot, and to have that disappointment, I feel for him more than anything. But he won't have a chance to compete this spring. Just some minor things here and there with guys, just with the normal preseason ramp-up time. Shouldn't be anything other than that keeps anybody out for any extended period of time.
Thanks.
You bet.
Next one, Kevin Suits.
Hey, Will, you mentioned just a few minutes ago about the frigid temperatures we had about a month ago. Have you guys been able to get outside recently? And how much did that maybe, I guess, add some juice to what you guys are working toward here?
Yeah, we have. We've had 3 or 4 team practices at Memorial Stadium out at Tom Osborne Field out there. We've moving around, just getting the outfielders some fly balls, basically just getting in fresh air and having to throw a cold ball on some days. We've been outside, I guess, now for the better part of the last week preparing. We've been at the football practice field, and we were fortunate enough to practice and get a couple of scrimmages over the weekend at Den Hartog Field here in Lincoln. They were very gracious in letting us use their facility. They've got brand new turf. It's a beautiful setup. They worked hard to get some snow pushed off and got us on the field last Friday. So we got about 18 innings of scrimmage time in that we didn't think we'd have a shot to get in at all. So we'll leave. We'll get on a plane tomorrow. We'll have a chance to practice 2 times in Texas as well before we start playing on Friday. So we have been outside the last week, and it definitely has boosted, I think, just the morale as far as being able to kind of get some fresh air. You get a little bit cooped up indoors, and I know the guys have been excited to get outside.
So how do you position a baseball field inside Memorial Stadium? Like, how do you angle it, or do you even try to simulate a field?
You can't necessarily get a real feel for it. I mean, it's basically just like it is when we go in the Hawks Championship Center. You set up a field that has a full infield, and then you've got either center and right or center and left. And then you end up flipping the field if you want to get some work on the other side. So you can't necessarily get a legitimate look at a baseball field, but it gives you at least a little bit of a setup in an outdoor setting.
Next question, Cole Peterson.
Hey, Coach. Without fans this year, how important is it going to be for you guys to start games quick? Obviously, with longer weekends, 3 to 4 games, where are you guys going to find that energy late in games?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's something that none of us have ever had to deal with before when it comes to limited number of fans in the stands and that type of thing. I know a lot of guys made the decision to come to Nebraska because our fans are so great. So But that being said, baseball is a game anyway where the motivation from external factors, if that's what's driving you to be good, then you're probably not going to be a very consistent team. You might get up for big, quote unquote, big games, and then struggle against games where you don't feel like they're as important as some others. So, you try to take all those things out of it anyway as a baseball player, and those are things that we try to, preach to our players on a normal year. Is just your motivation and your drive has got to come from within, and you've got to be able to just focus on the task at hand, the pitch at hand, the inning at hand, the play at hand, and not look too far ahead of anything other than that. And so that's going to present a different challenge for us. I mean, we're just not used to it. We're not used to having limited people in the stands, and we'll see what it looks like when we get there. But I think just the normal things that you talk about with teams and players is that motivation from within, and that's going to be put to the test this year more than ever.
All right, guys, we'll get time for one more, and then we're going to move on to players. Last one, Andrew Ward.
Hey, Will, you kind of talked about this a little bit, but just watching the volleyball team and the men's basketball team this year, problems that they've had, is there a start the season here with everything going on there?
You're kind of cutting out, Andrew.
Hey, Will, is there with volleyball and the men's basketball teams, with their COVID games they've missed with COVID, has there been any worry at all from your end about the pandemic at all and the protocols you got to follow with that?
Is there a worry? Oh yeah. That's something on our plate that we don't normally have to worry about, but it is a worry. It is something that you've seen in every sport, and nobody's been immune to it. It's thrown loops into seasons all across the country, and Nebraska is not unique to that. And our conference, it's not going to. I would be surprised if we make it through the entire season in our conference only games and play all 44 games and without any issues from any teams. I mean, it's just. Unfortunately, that's what the last calendar year has shown us. So, am I worried about it? Yeah, it makes me stay up at night sometimes thinking about it. But again, it's one of those things. I mean, we do everything we can to stay safe. It doesn't guarantee anything, but is it something that could be a factor? Absolutely.